Welcome into Game with the Devils. It's Jack and JD. Blue Devils eked out a close win at Clemson, 66-57, without Marvin Bagley. Clemson was out a couple of key players as well in this one, and it was definitely an ugly affair, especially in the second half. Both teams shooting under 40% from the field, and it just was not pretty out there, but the Blue Devils were able to get it done, JD.
You know, it's not a lot of fun when both teams are pretty horrible to watch. I mean, Clemson's shooting in the second half at one point was 5 for 25, and Duke really wasn't much better to watch, and the officiating was just horrendous both ways. This is not a Duke fan complaining about officiating. Both ways it was horrible to watch.
Right, and you know, not to delve too deeply into the officiating, but I think that's been a problem, you know, all season and for the past few seasons. But nevertheless, you can never control the guys in the black and white stripes. You can only control how you play. And I thought in the first half, the Blue Devils as a team, even though the score may say otherwise, played better. I thought Grayson did a great job coming out aggressively. Yes, you know, in the first half he hit all of his shots. In the second half, I don't think he made one, besides at the free throw line. But still, you know, I thought he passed the ball well in the second half, and while he didn't play nearly as well, still we got one good half of basketball from Grayson Allen, and that's not been the case for the past couple of weeks. So still good signs from Mr. Allen.
Well, he was only 1 point away from his third consecutive game at 20 points or more, so this could be the awakening of Grayson Allen.
Right, and Wendell Carter in a bit had a opposite affair, as he usually does. Struggles in the first half and then gets his in the second half. A little different though without Marvin Bagley. It's been more difficult for him to score efficiently, so while he's taken more shots, he hasn't been able to make more shots, and part of that is just the extra attention created without Marvin Bagley. Listen, there's a huge difference to playing with a guy who's going to go in top 3 next to you versus Javin DeLaurier, who I love, but is not an offensive threat. And so teams can double up on Wendell. And, you know, today is also interesting. He didn't finish with any assists. And with the amount of double teams that they were throwing at him, you would have figured he would have got at least one or two, but nothing on the day.
You know, I think what's happening is teams have decided that with both Wendell and Mo Bags, that when the ball is low, they're slapping at it, and they are willing to give up fouls, but they know that once the ball is brought above the shoulders, they're going to have a really hard time with Mo Bagley, and they're going to have a really hard time with Wendell when he's playing with him. So I think what's happening is as they're coming off of the dribble, teams are becoming much more smart about how to attack them early in their motion.
Right. And I do agree with that to an extent, but I still think Wendell could do, especially in today's game. I thought, you know, he was too patient in the post at times, and he would wait before initiating his move. And something like, you know, that play towards the end of the game, the big basket and one he got on Elijah Thomas, where he got the ball. While it was, you know, Wendell's never going to be the quickest guy, but he has a nice pace and flow to his game, and he had a nice, you know, fake pass out, one dribble, back down, and then the spin move over the shoulder. And I thought that's where he needed to be, versus too often today he would take too many dribbles in the post, and that allowed the Clemson defense to gather around him.
I think that's a pretty good summation of Wendell's play, but at least Javin was able to help him off the boards. They each had 10 rebounds.
Yeah, I thought Javin was fantastic today. I thought, you know, the past couple of games he started to look a little bit better, and while the offense we may have to wait until next year or the year after for him to become more of an offensive weapon. I thought the rebounding and the defense was excellent, especially in the offensive glass where he got them a few extra opportunities just with his hustle.
It's also surprising because there have been a number of games when there have been 3 Duke players with double-digit rebounds, and the third one, surprisingly, is Gary Trent Jr., where today he came up with 7 rebounds and, certainly helped out on the boards in order to control. He only finished with 11 points today and on 3 for 10 shooting, and Grayson was 4 for 10. And I just wanted, again, I'm searching for that flow in this offense, and Grayson and Trey combined for 7 assists and 6 turnovers, Jack.
Yes, but I thought Trey was a bit better today. On Gary, really quickly, I think Gary does a good job at finding ways to contribute on days when his shot's not going in. As you said, the 7 rebounds today. But back to Trey, I thought 2 turnovers today. Overall, the ball's in his hands less than it has been, especially in that middle stretch of the season where he was really struggling. They've put it more in Grayson's hands. But still, though, they showed him a lot of confidence. He stayed out there today. He didn't get into early foul trouble. There were still a couple of plays where you question the decision-making of Trey, a couple of shots that you probably want to have back. But having said that, going into a game against Clemson, they're going to make it difficult. They're going to make it a dirty game. And both Trey and Grayson did a great job on the opposite end of the court on defense, really getting into passing lanes and causing turnovers.
Jack, I think that's an excellent, point to say about, a Duke win by 9 at Clemson. Clemson is going to turn it into a dogfight, and for Duke to walk out of there, I used to have an expression when I played, win ugly. Well, this was an ugly win, but it was a win at Clemson, and you got to feel good about that. Exactly,
JD. And, listen, for this Blue Devils team, right now in the season, anytime they can get a win is a good one. While this wasn't a Clemson team with its full arsenal, they still held them to under 60 points in this one. And so the defense looked decent, although, again, without a full arsenal and the ability to cue on Gabe DeVoe and really limited him to only 3 points when he hit that last jumper near the end of the game. There's not too much else Clemson has offensively, so we'll have to see how the Blue Devils will fare Wednesday when they get Louisville at home in Cameron.
Well, and I'm looking forward to that one, and I'm willing to go on record now that Duke is going to run the table right through the ACC tournament, and it may not be pretty wins, but I think they're going to start to gather momentum. This is 3 wins in a row, and so we're playing Louisville at home, who is 18-9 with an 8-6 record in the ACC. 4 players actually had started almost every game for them. Adele, Snyder, Spalding, and VJ King. And Adele with his 15.7 points per game, and Quentin Snyder 12.1, and Spalding 11.7, and VJ King just shy of 10 points a game. So they actually have 4 guys in averaging double figures, and that is going to make for certainly it's not going to be an easy game for Duke to win, but I am looking for a Duke win. Yeah,
and the other thing is with Ray Spalding and their other couple big men there, Malik Williams and the shot blocker Anis Mahmoud, it'll be really important for the Blue Devils to have back Marvin Bagley for this game if he's healthy. Because Louisville's going to have a traditional 4 and 5 who are both 6'10", and those 2 guys, Spalding and Mahmoud, get around 5 to 5.5 shot blocks a game. And so without the Wendell Carter's Batman in Marvin Bagley, it's going to be tough for the Blue Devils to really have that interior presence. And so it's going to be a lot more dependent on Grayson Allen and Gary Trent to really knock down threes.
I think you got it right. So I'm JD, that's Jack, and we're looking forward to a good one with Louisville. We're out dealing with the Devils.